I would like to welcome you to my channel, That Middle-Aged Lady. In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you the experience I had with having several of my cherry angiomas removed off of my back. And by several, I mean at least 20 of them. And so this is a follow-up video to a previous video I had done, just giving some general information about cherry angiomas, such as what they even are, what are some of the causes, why people get them, who's most susceptible to get them, and what are some of the preferred methods that dermatologists use to remove them. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, by all means feel free to go to my channel and you'll find that video there. But just to give a quick little recap, a cherry angioma is just basically a collection of blood vessels that can present itself as either a little red speck or even a larger red bump. And so those red bumps are filled up with blood. And they can be found anywhere on the body, but are most commonly found on the torso, being the stomach, chest, and back region. Anybody can get them, but most commonly they're found in people 30 years and older, and they are a benign condition, meaning they are non-cancerous, so they don't pose any type of serious health risks, although they can become irritated if your clothing rubs up against them, or depending on where they're at, if you happen to nick one while you're shaving. And so the reason that I decided to get my cherry angiomas removed was because I don't just have a couple cherry angiomas scattered here and there. I literally have them everywhere. So I have them on my arms, my legs, my stomach, my chest, my back, my neck, and now I've noticed I'm starting to get them on my face as well. And so because I have over the years become very self-conscious of them, I really don't like to wear clothing that, shows them on my legs or any type of clothing that you can see my stomach or my back. I finally decided that I was going to go see my dermatologist, see exactly what it would take to get them removed, and finally got the courage up to do so. And so in my particular case, my dermatologist's preferred method of removal is electrocauterization. And so here is a video of the exact tool that she used to go ahead and begin the removal of my cherry angiomas. And so this is the machine they use. The tip of that is what produces the electricity that then produces the heat that pops the angioma. Kind of looks like a water pick to me. The dial that they turn up to whatever frequency they feel is necessary. And that is the machine that electrocauterizes these cherry angiomas. As you could see from that video, there wasn't a whole lot to the tool. Again, it kind of reminded me of a water pick, but the way that it worked was she turned that dial about halfway up, which then allowed it to start immediately producing electricity. I can't tell you what frequency that would have been, but I can't imagine it was much considering it was going to be touching the body. And then from there, that electricity produced heat. And she then took that tool and took the very tip of it and started to individually touch each of those cherry angiomas, therefore popping, or I guess you could say burning them. And then that tool would immediately cauterize it afterward, cauterization meaning to immediately stop any bleeding, thus the name electrocauterization. And so the next big question I'm sure you're wondering is, did it hurt? And so I can tell you that I have a fairly high tolerance for pain, meaning it doesn't really bother me to get shots or get my blood taken or anything like that. I just try not to get in my own head and tell myself even if it hurts, it's not going to be forever, and then it'll be done with. And so I went into this process with that same mindset. And so although I do have a fairly high tolerance for pain, I can honestly say that this procedure definitely did get to be a little uncomfortable at times. The best way I can describe it would be it felt like the very fine tip of a needle going into that angioma and then a quick little burn. So basically a poke and a burn. I've never had a tattoo, but I would imagine it's probably similar to that. And then the littler ones, the ones that were just little specks, those weren't too bad because it was just a quick poke, burn, poke, burn, poke, burn, and those were done. It was the larger ones that were a little bit more filled with the blood that took her a little bit longer. So that was more like a poke and a burn, poke and a burn, poke and a burn until that was done. And so those were the ones that kind of got me and sometimes even took my breath away a little bit because honestly, it almost felt like you were being shocked by electricity, even though it was a burn. In reality, it really was being shocked by electricity, that electricity producing the heat, which then produced the burn. And so that's kind of what made the procedure uncomfortable. Now, because I had so many on my back, again, I know for a fact I had at least 20, maybe even closer to 30. It took about 10 minutes for her to get all of those cherry angiomas popped. But once she was done, there was no more pain after that, so that pain didn't linger. As soon as she took that little tip off of the angioma, you no longer felt anything. So that was the good part about it, especially if you only have a few that you want to have removed. It certainly wouldn't be as bad as me having as many as I did. But I wanted to show you the pictures of before and after so that you could at least see exactly how, having this done worked. This is a before picture of my back just prior to having the procedure done. As you can see, there are a variety of different size cherry angiomas scattered all over my back, from tiny little red specks to the larger red bumps. In the next couple of pictures, you'll be able to see exactly how many there were. This is a picture that was taken right after I got home from having the procedure done. As you can see, a couple of the angiomas do have a little bit of redness around them, but I felt absolutely no pain. This picture was taken exactly 2 weeks after having the procedure done. As you can see, the cherry angiomas are now starting to scab over and are becoming a lot more prominent. This picture was taken 3 weeks after having the procedure done, and as you can see, the scabs are now starting to dry up a little bit and don't look quite as prominent anymore. This was a picture that was taken 4 weeks after having the procedure done. As you can see, all of the scabs have now dried up and gone away. All you can see is maybe a little bit of a red remnant left that I was told would eventually go away. And then some of those other things that you're seeing are just simply some brown moles. I'm sure the next question everybody is wondering is, would I recommend having this procedure done, and would I have this procedure done on myself again? With the answer to both of those questions being yes. As a matter of fact, I actually have an appointment set up next week for my dermatologist to remove the cherry angiomas off of my chest and stomach, since I have quite a few on there as well. And then from there, I figure I'll make another appointment for her to do my arms and legs, and then the final appointment for her to do a full body scan and go ahead and get any of the cherry angiomas that she missed. And so the way I think of it is 10 minutes, at least in my case, because again, I had at least 20, maybe even 30 that she removed. So 10 minutes worth of pain or a little bit of uncomfortableness to then be able to look in the mirror and no longer feel self-conscious over seeing all of these red bumps all over my body is well worth it to me. So I guess it just depends on where you're at in your situation, how self-conscious you are, how many you have, and what your tolerance to pain is, for you to decide whether or not you think this procedure might be right for you. At the least, I would probably go in and see how it feels, see whether or not you think you can handle it. And if you can't, it's not like you have to have them all removed. And the second they take that tool off of your skin, you no longer feel that burn anymore. You go home and you don't even realize that you had it done. So it's not like that pain's gonna linger and that you're gonna wish to God you never had it done. So I think it would at least be worth investigating it and then seeing whether or not you think you can handle it. And so that's the best advice I can give. But if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them, and I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. I would love to have you support me by subscribing, as I do have a lot more content coming. And other than that, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. And if you decide to get the procedure done, good luck. And again, I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much.